So, we have seen in both these examples that the limit as x goes to a of f of x is actually the value of the function at a. This is precisely the notion of continuity of a function. So, definition, let f from I to r be a function defined in a neighborhood of a. Then we say that f is said to be continuous at a if limit as x approaches a, f of x is equal to f of a. So, what we have seen is the function f of x equals x, the function f of x equals x to the power n, where n is greater than or equal to 0. These are continuous functions. Let us look at another example. F of x is equal to x by absolute value of x. This function is not defined at x equals 0 because the denominator then becomes 0. So, this is defined on r minus 0 to r. Now, in order to talk about the limit of a function at a, it is enough for the function to be defined at every point in a neighborhood of a except the point a. We do not actually use the value of the function at the point a. So, it has to be defined on a neighborhood of a with a possible exception of a. So, this is a function like that, and now we could ask what is the limit as x goes to 0 of f of x. Now, let us just compute a few values of this function. If x is equal to 1, then what is the value of this function? Well, the numerator is 1, the denominator is 1, and the value of f is 1. If x is equal to minus 1, what is the value of this function? Well, the numerator is minus 1, the denominator is 1, so the value of this function is minus 1. In fact, what you see is that this function has the property that f of x is equal to minus 1 if x is less than 0 and plus 1 if x is greater than 0. We could plot the graph of this function and it looks something like this. It is called the Heaviside function, named after the mathematician Heaviside. Somehow the name of the person seems apt once you look at the graph of the function. It seems a bit heavy on the right side. So, what is the limit of this function as x approaches 0? Now, suppose the limit of this function is some number L, then what we would have is, given any epsilon greater than 0, there should exist delta greater than 0 such that if x minus 0, which means absolute value of x is less than delta, then f of x minus L is less than epsilon. But we do not think this function has any limit, because when you are close to 0 from the left, the function is minus 1, when you are close to 0 from the right, the function is plus 1, and both plus 1 and minus 1 cannot simultaneously be close to any number L. So, as we have discussed before while talking about the limits of sequences, how do you negate this statement? It is enough to say find 1 to show that the limit does not exist. It suffices to find one example of epsilon positive for which no delta works. There exists x such that x is close to 0, that means that absolute value of x is less than delta, but f of x minus L is greater than epsilon. Now, if you just look at this picture, the difference between the values from the left and the right is 2. So, let us try our luck with epsilon equals 1, which is about half that distance. And L any real number. We want to show that there is no limit, no real number is the limit. Okay. Now, for every delta greater than 0, take x1 equal to delta by 2, x2 to be minus delta by 2. Now, what do we have? We have both x1 in absolute value is less than delta and x2 in absolute value is less than delta. And what we have is f of x minus L is f of x1 minus L is absolute value of 1 minus L, whereas f of x2 minus L is absolute value of minus 1 minus L, which is absolute value of 1 plus L. So, what we have is, so now by the triangle inequality, 1 minus L plus absolute value of 1 plus L, well, this is greater than or equal to the absolute value of 1 minus L plus 1 plus L, which is equal to 2. And so, either 1 minus L in absolute value is greater than 1, greater than or equal to 1, or 1 plus L in absolute value is greater than or equal to 1. What that means is f of x1 minus L in absolute value is greater than or equal to 1, or f of x2 minus L is greater than or equal to 1. And so, what this means is that for any delta greater than 0, you can find at least one point x within the neighborhood with absolute value of x less than delta, such that f of x minus L is greater than or equal to 1. And so, the limit x goes to 0, f of x does not exist. There is no real number L such that limit x goes to a f of x goes to 0 of f of x is equal to L. Analogous to the basic properties of limits of sequences, there are basic properties for limits of functions. So, the first is that if limit as x approaches a, f of x equals L, and limit as x approaches a, g of x is equal to m, then limit as x approaches a, f of x plus g of x, the sum function, is equal to L plus m. You can do the same thing with products. If limit as x approaches a, f of x equals L, and limit as x approaches a, g of x equals m, then limit as x approaches a, f of x into g of x, the product function, is L times m. Now, we have to be a little more careful with quotients as before. If g of x is not equal to 0 in a neighborhood of A, limit x approaches A, f of x is equal to L, and limit as x approaches A, g of x is equal to m, and m is not equal to 0, then certainly limit as x approaches A, f of x over g of x is equal to L over m. An immediate corollary of these properties tell us about how to construct new continuous functions from old. If f and g are continuous at A, then so are f x plus g x and f of x times g of x. The sum and products of functions that are continuous at A are going to be continuous at A. For quotients, we need to be slightly more careful. F of x by g of x is continuous at A, provided g of A is not equal to 0. Now, the proofs of these properties I will leave as an exercise, because we have done exactly the same things for sequences, and these proofs are very, very simple. One nice consequence of the sum and product properties of limits is that if p of x equals x to the a0 plus a1x plus a n x to the n is any polynomial, then limit x approaches A, p of x is equal to p of A. In particular, p of x is continuous at A for all A in R. So, saying that it is continuous at A for all A in R, we will sometimes abbreviate this to saying that it is continuous on R. Why is this true? Well, this function is a sum of products of functions whose limits we know. So, we know that limit of as x goes to A, x is equal to A. This was the first, well, we did twice x in the first example, but this is equally simple. Given any epsilon, you just take delta to be equal to epsilon, and you will see that the limit as x approaches A of x is equal to A. And it is also true that if you take a constant function of ai, this is equal to ai, where ai is one of the coefficients of these polynomials. And now, by multiplying and adding together these basic pieces, you can construct the polynomial px. And so, all that hard work we did to show that x to the n had limit a to the n as x goes to A was not really needed. We could have just used the product rule and the fact that the limit as x goes to A of x is equal to A.